I'm just going to do a really
Okay.
quick introduction for Deb
Yes.
because,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'm really happy that Deb was able to join us because she is a small business owner in our local community, which we've all talked about trying to support and encourage that and make sure that that part of our economy is still going and moving in the right direction. She is somebody that's very passionate about coming alongside people with their health and whatever that looks like on so many levels. She does in-person classes and virtual classes, and she's got so many years of experience and so much training behind her. She's got a Facebook page that if you want to visit, it's Journey to Wellness. Lots of great information, lots of easy ways to connect. She also does not only indoor stuff, but she does circuit training and outdoor stuff. Some mornings down at the rec center, the Gordon R. Snow Center in Fall River, which is a beautiful way to get out and get active when it's like this. Yeah, so I will let you take it away, Deb. I know you have 3 kids at home that you have tried very hard and have been really successful at balancing life with business and what our new normal has looked like.
Yeah, balance, I use that word loosely. Balance is not always a word that I would use for how the days look sometimes. They're definitely chaotic days like everyone else, especially during these times, because there was also a huge, as we all know, a huge learning curve with everything that we've doing. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just running my business as usual. It's, I'm now learning all of these things along with it. So one of the things that I really found was helpful was focusing on my health and focusing on my fitness and focusing on my own wellness, because we start to get into this, I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to survive. And then our own health and our own wellness kind of slips by the wayside. And that's when we start seeing problems, right? That's when we start getting injuries. You know, they're calling it the quarantine 15 for a reason. You know, people jumping on the sourdough bandwagon and we want to bake all the time because we're looking for comfort, right? And sometimes we're bored. We're looking for things to do. So, I mean, these things are real things. They're really happening. So I really found that focusing on my own wellness, I noticed how much better I was feeling. And I went, okay, I've got to get everybody else on track. So, and that's what I started doing within the first couple of weeks. I was starting to offer some free classes. I was getting my personal training clients. I'm like, we need to do this virtually. I know it's not ideal. It's not our ideal situation, but we can't let this slip because it's a very slippery slope of baking today and baking tomorrow. And then, you know, there may be alcohol involved, and it's just one thing after another, after another. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to nip in the bud really fast for not only myself, but everyone else too. So, and that was one of the things I found is that, you know, that stress and that not being sure of what's happening from day to day, when you're focusing on yourself and you're focusing on your own wellness and your own health, it's just, and your own fitness, it's just amazing how much better everything else runs. And that's one of the biggest things that I stress to people is that when you put yourself first and you take care of yourself first, even if it seems so counterintuitive because you want to focus on your business and you want to be sitting in front of the computer and you want to be, you know, doing whatever you need to do. But when you put yourself first, you're going to be in a much better position to take care of everybody else. You just are, because you're feeling healthier, you're feeling better. So I'm going to share my screen. Just so, because what I'm going to talk about today is kind of my top tips. I call it my buffet table tips. It's when I go somewhere and somebody says, oh, what do you do? And I go, oh, I'm a personal trainer. And the questions start. So that's what I call this presentation. It's kind of like my buffet answers. These are the top things that I give to people. I suggest that they try to incorporate into their life and into their family life, and just everything, you know, their business, their family, personal, everything. If you can incorporate some of this in, you're going to be in a really great position to run your business and run your household and take care of children and take care of whatever you need to take care of because you've taken care of yourself first. Okay, so I'm going to, hopefully this works. Share, can you see that?
Yep.
Yes, perfect. Okay, great. So my name, Deborah Han. I'm a certified personal training specialist, nutrition and wellness specialist, healthy eating and weight loss coach, a pre and postnatal fitness specialist, and I'm also a yoga instructor. So I've got a few things behind me. I've been doing this now for 14 years. And before that, I did corporate communications and public relations. So kind of switched gears a whole lot. And I absolutely love what I do. It's a very, very rewarding job. On top of that, I am also, I'm going to see if this works properly. I'm a mom of 3. So these 3 keep me busier than anyone. And these are the 3, these are my why. And that's something we're going to talk about is, you know, and I'm sure you've all heard that before, is finding out your why. Whenever you want to set a goal, you need to find out your why. You need to figure out why. These 3 right here are my why. So I'm not just somebody coming to you going, hey, let's exercise all the time because we have all this free time to do it. I know we don't. I know we need to get it in, done, and get on with our day. And I want to show you how to do that. So this is my daughter, Melissa. She's now 16, and my boys are 9 and 7, and they are busy. So I'm going to give you my top tips for living your best life. I don't want to keep you long. I'm going to try to keep this short. But if I start talking too fast, Janice, can you tell me? You're going too fast. And if anybody has any questions, like jot them down. And at the very end, I'll answer any questions you have. I have nothing going on for the next hour or two, so I will, well, as much as I can, I will answer any questions that you have, okay? So one thing that I really want you to keep in mind is that what wellness means for you might mean something completely different for somebody else. I don't know about you, but what wellness meant for me when I was 26 years old now means something completely different now that I'm 46 years old. And it's probably going to mean something completely different when I'm 66 and 76 and 86. Wellness is ever changing. And that's why I named my company Journey to Wellness, because it's not just a point in time where, hey, I'm well, right? It's always evolving. We have things going on. We have stress in life. We run our businesses. We have families, menopause, whatever, you know, injuries, deaths in the family. There's all this thing going on, and wellness is ever changing. And you don't want to just look at what society tells us that wellness is and take that as law, because it's not. Because what wellness means for you now is going to mean something different to somebody else, or mean something different to you maybe even in 2 years' time. And that's one of the biggest things that I tell people when they say, yeah, well, you know what, healthy living and or losing weight or getting strong or fitness or whatever, that's not a priority to me right now. But generally what happens, it doesn't become a priority until we have a health scare. And that's what I want people to avoid doing. I don't want you to wait until you have that scare. I have a client, she came to me diabetic. Up until that point, when her doctor told her she was diabetic, she was significantly overweight, but losing the weight and getting healthy was not a priority for her until she had that scare. And she was really scared. And I that's what I try to get people to avoid doing as best you can. If you can start now with little steps, you will hopefully avoid those big scares later on down the road. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Big thing to keep in mind. I get that a lot when people start something and maybe they hurt, you know, their knee. Oh, I can't do anything. And then they start eating like crazy. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Let's find things that we can do, exercises that you can do where we don't aggravate the injury. You know, you can still eat healthy and not be exercising. You can still, you know, if you have a bad day of eating, that doesn't mean you don't exercise that day, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm doing everything absolutely perfect or I'm doing nothing at all. And that is a habit that a lot of us get into as we do that. So that's one thing that I would say is just start with baby steps. And I'm going to show you all those baby steps. And there is one major thing that can help you change everything. And that's what did it for me too. And I'm going to tell you what that is in a few minutes. So this is me. I actually had trouble. This is Dean Brody. He was at the Casino Nova Scotia. I had trouble, a picture of me when I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I didn't even realize how much I was avoiding cameras. I was avoiding them all the time. I started looking, going, what? In this 2-year period, I don't understand. And I really think that I was avoiding the camera. And I found this picture. And this was taken. I'm going to tell you all the things that I did in order to get there. But I wasn't unhealthy. And this is what I try to stress to people. It's like, I felt uncomfortable and I wasn't happy, but I wasn't necessarily unhealthy. But I had to figure out what to do in order to get to the point where I wanted to be. And again, that was my own life. It was my own situation. It wasn't what somebody else pictures a personal trainer to be. I would get that look sometime, this picture on the left, I would get a look when people would say, what do you do? One time I said, personal trainer. She actually looked me up and down. Like, you're a what?
Wow.
And it really struck me that I went, this is a perception people have of what a trainer or a fitness professional or somebody in fitness or somebody who loves to be fit or exercises is supposed to look like. And I'm like, no, that's not fair. And that's when I really got my back up. I was like, this is not fair, because I know some people who are very, very fit and do not fit into that perfect body.
Yep.
So just remember that whenever you do anything, it's about being well. It's about being healthy. It's not about a certain size. Some of us do, right? I knew I had to drop a little bit of weight. I knew that in my heart, but it wasn't a priority at that time until my youngest guy went to school. And then all of a sudden, okay, I have time now. It's a priority. And that's when it really started to trigger, why am I thinking that way? If I'm thinking this way, there's a lot of other people out there thinking this way. I'm taking care of this and this and this and this and this. Oh, good. Everybody's in school now. Now I can get healthy, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. So this is just really quickly, I'm just showing you, the changes that can happen in a very short period of time. All of these people did baby steps, okay? This is one of my clients. She came to me with diabetes. She's the one that I was talking about. This was from September until now. Pink shirt was September. The camo pants is now. Right? So it doesn't matter where you're starting. Some people look at the pictures of, the ones I just showed you. Oh, well, most of them were already in pretty good shape. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like that. She obviously started somewhere completely different. This is Ashley. Ashley has lost 110 pounds in the last year and a half. But more than anything, and this is why I included this picture on the right with her bike helmet on, because she has so many non-scale victories. I'm crying all the time. Last Mother's Day, so not this Mother's Day, but the Mother's Day before, she bought a bike for the very first time as an adult. She has never ridden a bike as an adult before. She has 3 little boys. Guess what she does all the time now? Rides bike with her kids. That was her priority. That was her why. This was so important to her. And I asked her, I said, I know we don't focus on weight loss, that you look fantastic. I mean, look, she looks fit, right? She's starting to get that real muscular. You can tell she's a force. I wouldn't want to get in her way. She's a force to be reckoned with. And she's so happy. And I asked her, I said, what other things have you done? And it was, she's off blood pressure medications now. She is, she doesn't have to wear the seat expander on a plane anymore, seatbelt expander. There's so many things. And I just want you to know that no matter where you are, there's somewhere to go from there. Okay. So if you have pen and paper, I'm going to give you my top tips on how to get there. Wherever you are and wherever you want to go, here's the top tips. So my top tips, if anybody asks me, what should I do in order to get stronger, lose weight, lose some belly fat? I have people that actually wiggle their arms at me. They go, how do I get rid of this? Right?
Bingo wings.
Oh, right. People ask me, how do I? This would be my top, more than anything. 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day. So that would be, I don't know if you can see that. This is one of those glass Costco ones. This is about 700. So you want like 4 of those a day. And a lot of people don't even get close. A lot of people are lucky if they get 1. So you want to be drinking lots and lots of water. That is the number one thing that will give you the fastest results as well. Because a lot of us hold on to water weight. We feel that bloated, right? We feel puffy. That is water weight. That's not body fat generally, that's water weight. So when you drink a lot of water, you eventually flush that out, and that will give you that initial boost of, ooh, I feel pretty good. So next one, protein and produce. I used to call this the 2 Ps, and it's kind of expanded now into the 4 Ps. Protein and produce, and planning and prepping. As you've probably heard the saying, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I don't necessarily believe we have to plan everything out. We need to have some flexibility, but at the same time, when you have healthy food in your house,
Hey.
prepared. Ooh, I hear a dog.
Sorry.
When you have healthy food in your house, when it's there, when you have some things planned, when you have some things prepped, you are going to be in a much better position to eat healthy, because you're not going to gravitate towards the not so great stuff. If you know you have something in the slow cooker, if you put it in the slow cooker when you left in the morning and you know it's going to be ready when you get home, well, you're not going to stop for fast food or a pizza or grab something, on the way, because you know there's a nice healthy meal at home waiting for you. So planning and prepping can go a really, really long way. I even recommend just planning the next day. You know, since this whole COVID thing, I'm planning out my family's meals like 2 and 3 weeks in advance. I mean, that's a little extreme. I don't ask people to do that, even just a couple of days ahead of time. But definitely you want to have your next day meals planned, meals and snacks planned out, and have as much prepped as you can. That way, when something gets in your way, when life gets in the way, or you have to run here, you have to do this, and you weren't planning on it, you know there's stuff there. Even if it's a matter of the fruit is washed and ready to go, so that when you go to jump in the car, because all of a sudden you have a last minute appointment to get to, you're like, okay, an apple and a banana, throw that in my car with a little bag of nuts that I've already have, and you're on your way. And you can eat that on the way, as opposed to, oh my goodness, okay, I can't do that. And then 4 hours later, you're starving. And you're just like, just give me food now. And of course, your body, what are you going to do? You're going to gravitate towards the easiest thing that you can find. And it usually ends up being something that's not so great for us. So the more you have it prepared and planned and prepped ahead of time, and it's all there, you're going to be much more likely to eat healthy. And I do recommend focusing on the protein and produce. If you eat protein and produce approximately every 3 hours, from the time you get up, you know, within the first hour or two, I don't tell people eat the second you get up, because some of us, that just doesn't work. So within the first couple hours, you eat a little bit of protein and produce every 2.5, 3 hours, or maybe 3.5 hours. You're going to kind of keep the steady flow of energy throughout all day long. You're not going to have the spikes. You're not going to have the drops. You're just going to kind of keep the steady energy. And then when dinner time comes, you've eaten enough calories throughout the day that you're not starving, so you can have a fairly small meal in the evening. It doesn't have to be that typical huge meal that we have. You can have that small meal, and then you don't feel the need to be eating all evening long, because that is our biggest struggle, is that we don't eat enough during the day, then we get to dinner time, we have a big meal, and then we keep going. We're looking for a snack, we're looking for a dessert, because we're hungry, because our body just didn't have enough calories. So please, that would be one thing I would definitely try to incorporate, is a little bit of protein and produce about every 3 hours. Think of a baby, right? How often does a baby feed? Normally, every 3 hours, right? And they eat until they are full, and then they stop, and they eat again next time when they're hungry. Not because they're bored, not because, you know, it's a socially acceptable thing to do. They're eating because they're hungry. They stop when they're full. Okay, so that's one of the biggest thing. Reducing starches and sugars. I don't even really have to tell people this. This is a no-brainer. We know that when we eat, you know, overabundance of sugar and an overabundance of starchy foods. When I call starch, I'm talking about the breads, the white rices, the pastas, the cereals, that sort of thing. When we eat a lot of them, they're not inherently bad, but what happens is we eat too much of them. So when we can control those and reduce them, that's why I never say eliminate. I have people ask me a lot of times about ketogenic diets and that sort of thing. You know, every diet works. Every single diet out there works. You cut anything out of your diet, out of your food, out of your nutrition, you're going to make changes regardless. Is it something that's sustainable? Is it something that will last you forever? Perhaps, but 9 times out of 10, no. So that's why I always say reduce. I never say eliminate, because what's going to happen if I tell you, you are never allowed to eat chocolate cake again? What is going to be the one thing that you want to eat every single day for the rest of your life? Is chocolate cake, right? Why would we do that to ourselves? And that's where a lot of quote unquote diets fail, because it's like, no, 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 no. Only this, only this, only this. And it becomes so rigid, and we get so focused that we get burnt out. And we just can't maintain it, because our life just doesn't allow that. You think about any social engagement that you've ever been involved in: weddings, funerals, birthday parties, baby showers. What is the common denominator? Food, right? And can you imagine not being able to eat at any of these things? It's not realistic. It's not realistic. So it's about reducing. It's about watching what you're doing. It's about being healthy, focusing on protein and produce. If you go to a restaurant, you can order protein and produce. You don't have to have the big bowl of pasta, right? So that you might be able to have a little something earlier in the day. And that's where I get into start big and end small. Your biggest meal should be earlier in the day. And usually we do the opposite, right? We start the morning with a coffee, sometimes a bagel, maybe not, maybe a piece of fruit, which is good, which is still good. But then, lunchtime comes and, oh, I haven't eaten. I've been busy all day. You need something. And then you're looking for something. And then it's the afternoon. Then it's usually another coffee and maybe some chocolate or something else. And then all of a sudden you get home, and because you haven't really eaten a lot during the day, then the meal gets really big. So if we start bigger, give ourselves that really good boost in the morning, and then make the evening meal your smallest meal. It's definitely adjustment. It takes a lot to get used to. I'm not going to say it's easy. And especially if you eat with other people, and they're going to look at you and go, what is that? What are you eating? I had to really say that to my daughter, because she would look at my dinners and go, you don't eat very much. And I realized that's what she sees, because that's the only meal she sits with me and eats. So I had to take pictures for a couple of days of my earlier meals and go, this is what Mama's eating. Mama eats a lot of food, because I didn't want her to think that I was starving myself by not eating. So there is a perception around there that you have to get over for sure, right? That the evening meal is smaller, and then try to stop eating after 6 p.m. Now the new buzzword is intermittent fasting. I'm sure we've all heard it. It's nothing new. It works. Back in the 80s and 90s, we called it don't eat after dinner, right? That's what we called it. And do you know why it's coming back? Because it works. Our body naturally detoxes in the evening. If we're eating a ton of food and then we go to bed and we're not burning it off, guess what's happening? It's getting stored as body fat. So cutting out the food in the evening. So if I ate dinner from 5 to 6, and then I have breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, I've just intermittent fasted for 14 hours. Right? We don't need buzzwords. We don't need all these fancy things. It's have a nice big breakfast, breaking the fast, nice big breakfast, eat frequently throughout the day, every 3 hours, small portions, not these huge meals, small portions, protein and produce every 3 hours. You're drinking lots of water. You stop eating at 6 o'clock. You give your body the whole night to detox and to clean up. Our body naturally detoxes. That's the purpose of our liver. That's the purpose of our organs, right? To flush everything out and get rid of it. And if you're drinking lots of water, your body's going to do that naturally. Okay. So when you do all this, I haven't told you anything that's earth shattering new. And I think sometimes that's what we look for. We want like these magic things. It's like ketogenic. I'm going to cut out every single bit of carbohydrate, or intermittent fasting. I'm not going to eat for 24 hours. And your brain is not going to like that. Your family is not going to like you doing that. They're really not going to like you cutting out everything, right? So you have to think about everything involved, and you want to have something that's you're going to maintain as a lifestyle. That's really important. When it comes to exercise, with working out, it doesn't have to be crazy. I'm not asking you all to go join CrossFit. That's not what I want you to do. What I want you to do is just work a little outside your comfort zone. So for some people, if you haven't been exercising at all, if you haven't done anything, maybe just going for a walk is going to be outside your comfort zone. And if that's the case, that's where you start. If you exercise a little bit and you've been, or maybe you're a runner. Hey, you run and you can kind of get into your groove really easy. When you first started running, how you had to do the walk, run, because you were trying to build up into it because it was hard. Now you're like, I can go out and run 10K. I can't personally, but I still have to do the walk, run. I'm not a big runner. Give me lots of other things. But, I'm jealous of the people that had that runner's high that can go out and just run, and they don't have to work very hard. But what's going to happen when you don't have to work very hard, your body doesn't have to work very hard, so you're not going to see as many changes. So then it's finding ways, how do I get outside of my comfort zone again? When I first started running, my legs started to really get shapely, or I dropped 10 pounds really fast. And now I'm still running, but nothing's changing. It's because your body has gotten used to it, and now that's your new comfort zone. So you have to always, always, always just be a little outside your comfort zone. Nothing so that you can't move the next day. I mean, when you first start exercising, sometimes, that's going to happen. You're going to feel like, ooh, a little stiff, sitting in a chair is kind of scary, for the first couple of times. But, you want to get to a point where when you exercise, I'm sweating. This is hard. I kind of feel like I want to stop, but no, I can keep going. I'm okay. And that's exactly where you want to be when you're trying to make changes to your body. Always a little outside your comfort zone. Okay. So they say that's where the magic happens. And we do that with business, right? Where do you see the most results? Usually you have to step outside your comfort zone. Same thing with exercise. And strength training is really important. A lot of people, especially women, we get very nervous that we're going to get big and bulky and, we're gonna, but that's not the way it works. We don't have the testosterone. We don't eat the sheer number of calories needed to get huge and bulky. So a little bit of strength training along with that protein and produce you're eating, along with a little bit of walking or reducing some sugar, all this kind of stuff comes together. You're going to be able to build up some muscle, and muscle equals metabolism. The more muscle mass you have, the faster your metabolism is. Plain and simple. If you had two versions of you sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and one of you had more muscle mass, that version of you would be burning more calories just to function, just to live. Your resting metabolic rate. Okay, so I definitely, and strength training is the only thing that can change the shape of your body. Doing cardiovascular can make you a smaller version of yourself and probably, tighten up the legs a little bit. But if you're trying to change your shape to some way, whether it's, little bit, shapelier shoulders or a higher bum or whatever it might happen to be, strength training is what's going to do that for you. You need to engage those muscles. You need to work those muscles with resistance, whether that's gravity, your body, or weights. Okay? So here it is. My top tips, the big one. You ready for it? Our thoughts have incredible life-changing power. Make sure your own worst enemy is not living between your two ears. I had another slide for another group. And I changed it at the very last minute. I'm so glad I did. It had a lady and it said, get your head out of your butt. It's not a hat. And honestly, that's pretty much what this is saying as well. When people ask me, Deb, what did you do to make the change? Besides those few things that I said, I got my head out of my butt. I just said, that's it. I'm going to make the changes. And once you get your own head wrapped around what you need to do, you will make the changes, plain and simple. That's just the way it works. We have to get our head wrapped around it first. You'll know this if you've ever decided to start doing something, start a healthy living or start a fitness program with somebody who was kind of, I didn't really want to do it, but was doing it for you. How fast did they slip off? Or how fast did they make excuses why they couldn't do it with you? Or, maybe if both of you were waffling a little bit, you were just dying for the other person to go, yeah, we should just cancel tonight. Yeah, I think you're right. We should just cancel tonight. Whew, dodge that bullet, right? So you have to get your head in the game. Once your head is in the game, you will make the changes, I promise, but it won't happen until then. Now you can start making those changes and, you might start to see some results and then that'll motivate you to keep going. Absolutely. But it's still here. It still has to happen here. It's easy to exercise when you're feeling good and it's a nice day and it's a great day to go out and go for a walk or to do this or to do whatever. And I feel really good. But what happens on the days when you're tired and you don't feel like it? That's when it comes to how bad do I want this? How bad do I want to make these changes? Because that's when it's tough. But when you go and do it anyways, even when you don't want to, even when you say no to the cake that you really want, or maybe half of the cake, just half the slice, right? When you make those decisions that you don't necessarily want to make, that's when the changes happen. So please remember, your thoughts are the most powerful thing. The most powerful tool you have are your thoughts. When you get your head in the game, it is amazing the things that can happen with anything in your life, anything in your life. Once you get your head in the game, amazing things can happen. So it starts in your head. Get out of your own way. Don't want to do it? Do it anyways. That's what I say to my clients and they don't like me for it. They call it Deb in my head. It's like, oh, Deb's in my head again. I didn't want to do it, but I heard your voice saying do it anyways, so I did it anyways. If your mind believes you can do it, you'll do it. And we've all heard this saying, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I get that a lot when people join one of my online programs. They say, I've done every single program and nothing works. I'm like, yep, if you feel that this is not going to work for you too, if you're coming into it with the attitude of this is probably not going to work either, it's probably not going to. If you come into this with an attitude of this is going to work because I am going to make it work, it'll work. And a lot of times it's finding accountability too. If you're not able to hold yourself accountable, try to find somebody who can. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a personal trainer. It could be a friend. I do advise against using your spouse for the accountability because that just causes fights. Are you sure you want to eat all that? Really? Your husband tells you that, or your wife tells you that? What are you going to do? Yes, I do. I want to eat it, right? So definitely, you know, find somebody, a good friend, somebody who you can talk to. It could be a trainer, it could be an instructor, it could be a couple of friends that you go to a fitness class with. Find people who will hold you accountable, though. Find some people, if you're not able to do it for yourself, and maybe your accountability is a goal. I know I'm very goal oriented that way. And, you know, maybe it's a trip, if we ever have trips again. Who knows? But maybe it's something, but, you know, pick something, a wedding or something like that, that you say, okay, this is my goal. And again, it doesn't always have to be weight loss. It could be, I'm on blood pressure medication. My goal is to get off the blood pressure medication. That's my goal. Or diabetes medication, or whatever, high cholesterol, whatever it might happen to be, right? Pick something and figure out a way to hold yourself accountable. Okay. So that really does help. And yeah, back to the thing. I told you I was going to try to keep this to 30 minutes. And look, it's 10:33. Yay! I know it's a beautiful day and I didn't want to keep anybody too long. I wanted to give you some really good tips. So wellness means something different to different people. Please do not use what society tells you that fitness and wellness and what the ideal body shape should be. Please do not let society do that anymore. You know, our society is changing so much. We are becoming so much more aware of all these societal norms that are just wrong. They are so wrong. Pay attention to your own health. Pay attention to how you feel. Do you like the way something looks? Well, wear it. Are you confident in your skin? Wear it proudly. Don't worry what anybody, most people, especially other women, they're not looking because they're so busy worrying about themselves. They really aren't looking at you. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably looking at you going, oh, I wish I looked like her, right? So don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, just be yourself, but that doesn't mean let yourself go either. You know, we kind of go from one extreme to the other. It's complete neglect or so much focus. I'm trying to think of the word, just that stress. We focus on it so much that we get stressed about it, right? Obsession, neglect, obsession. Let's try to find somewhere in between. That's where we want to be. But just don't wait for that health scare, okay? Don't wait for the health scare to happen in order to make the changes. And even if maybe it's not even making changes that you need to worry about, maybe it's just following a course you're on. And, you know, maybe over the last couple of months, you've kind of veered off a little bit and you just need to pull yourself back a little bit. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe you're just like, oh, I'm on the shoulder of the road and I just need to come back. Maybe that's all we need to do, because this has been a crazy couple of months. This has affected a lot of us physically, mentally. You know, I miss hugging people so bad, right? You know, it's that we miss things, and it's been stressful. And stress is so difficult when you're trying to live a healthy life, because it affects so much of us that we don't even realize it's happening. It's not just, oh, I'm stressed and I feel it in my shoulders and I'm clenching my jaw or whatever. There's so much happening in our organs and in our mind and our heart and just everything. It affects it. And sometimes we don't even realize what's happening until something bad happens, until we blow up at, you know, one of our children and they look at us like we're absolutely insane because they didn't really do anything that bad, but it was like the trigger, right? It was that last thing, you know, and everybody's like, oh, mom's lost her mind, let's leave. Because it's just, so it's the stress, it's building up, it's building up, it's building up. So when you feel that stress rising, or you feel like you've been working constantly, or you feel like you know, you need to spend a couple more hours in front of the computer, I challenge you to step away and exercise for 10 minutes. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't need a home gym. You don't need a treadmill. I need you to get up and move for 10 minutes, because what's that going to do is that's going to decrease your stress levels. It's going to calm your mind. It's going to increase those endorphins, those feel-good feelings in our body, those feel-good hormones. I promise you, when you sit back down to do what could have been 2 hours worth of work, may only end up now being an hour worth of work, because you're so much more productive. You're so less stressed. So I challenge you, just when you feel that coming on, that, oh, this is really, something's aggravating me, or it's getting in my way, or I need to focus on this, I need to do this. I challenge you just to go, I'm stepping away for just 10 minutes. I'm not going to look at it for 10 minutes. I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to do something really well. Then I'm going to come back. I guarantee you, if I am wrong, you can message me and you can call me out on it. Okay. But if I'm right, you have to tell me too, because I love hearing when I'm right. So yeah, but I challenge you, just try that. Just try it, for a couple of weeks. Whenever you're feeling that way, you will be more productive. You'll be a happier person. And hey, you get healthier in the meantime. That's a good thing, right? So, short workouts, right? The all or nothing. Cut out food is having a negative effect on your body. Add more water, schedule your time, plan and prep your meals, and remember why it's important to you. Okay? These are the little things. So if you want to take a quick screen capture of that or whatever you need to do, that would be I'm waiting for Janice to hold up her phone because I know she's going to. Take a picture. That would definitely be it. When you're stuck and you're stumped and you can't remember, what am I supposed to do? Protein and produce and what? Cut out the food that is having a negative effect. Short workouts, add a little bit more water, schedule in your workout time, make it an appointment on your calendar just like you would anything else. Make that workout. I do recommend mornings. A lot of people look at me and go, no, I'm not a morning person, but I do recommend, especially if you're a very busy professional, getting that workout done and out of the way in the morning makes your whole day so much easier. Not only does it set the tone for your day, it's done. You're not trying to wonder where in the world you're going to fit it in later, right? It's done. It's out of the way. Poof, done. Plan and prepping your meals and remembering why it's important to you. And just like 30 seconds, these are some of the things that I offer. I do private training in person here in my studio in Fall River. I do have an in-home studio, private training. I also do private training virtually, and it's been amazing, the feedback that I've gotten from the virtual training. I have a couple of clients that used to come in person, and they have found that the virtual is so much better for them that they've actually asked to just continue doing the virtual. Same thing with fitness classes. Currently, I'm offering 6 fitness classes a week. 2 of them are in person outdoors at the Gordon Snow in the parking lot. We're still maintaining the 2-meter distancing. We've got it set up. It's like every second line in the parking lot. It's beautiful. It works out really well. And then I do 4 virtual. So most of them, 3 of them are more exercise, strength training, that sort of thing. And then I do one that's kind of a stretch and meditation on Sunday evening. So if you're looking for something to kind of bring your body down a little bit of stretching, that's definitely one that I would recommend. I do offer online programs year round. I have 3 big ones that I offer. It's called the 8-Week Body Transformation Challenge. I offer those September, January, and April. So they're 8 weeks and there's a lot of accountability. You get meal plans, nutrition programs, weekly fitness programs. I have a private website that has a whole workout library that I've put together. So that's there. You get the accountability where you check in with me every single week. I do speaking engagements like this. And right now I'm also offering, it's brand new. It's 14-day Kickstart. It's a completely online challenge, online program. You just, whenever you sign up, it's only $10. Whenever you sign up, you get your day 1. You get 3 healthy habit tips that I want you to work on that day. You get an 8 to 10 minute workout and you get a healthy recipe. And then every day after that, each morning, you'll get another 3 healthy tips, another 8 to 10 minute workout, and another recipe for 14 days. And I'm only charging $10. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's my way of saying thank you to everybody that stuck with me for the few months and the new people that came on board in those few months when we were off, when I was offering the classes and that, a lot of people jumped on board and I wanted to provide something because I know a lot of people are still struggling financially. And I just said, you know what, if this is something that I can put together and once it's up and running, it's not as much work for me. I mean, it was quite a bit of work to get it up and live, but now it's like, if I can offer this to people and I can keep the cost really low and it's enough to kickstart, it's exactly what it is, right? It's getting the head out of the butt, the kick in the pants, the little kickstart. And if I can offer that, then that would mean the world to me to be able to help people with even just those small steps. And then at the end of the 14 days, then it's like, you kind of have an idea of, oh, wow, I did feel better when I was adding a little bit of water, or I did feel better when I was a little bit more organized. I want to keep that up. And then you can kind of use that as your boost to keep going, to find something that really works for you, whether it's going and finding a fitness class that you really like, or finding an at-home workout that you really like, or finding a really good hiking trail, right? So that I wanted to be able to provide something that will give people that, I don't know how to describe it, that oomph that we need. Because we need that sometimes. How many of us said, if I could just get away and do absolutely nothing for 2 weeks except eat healthy and exercise, I would be on the right path, right? We must, I know I have, I've thought about that. If I could just drop everything But this way, this is just little stuff. If I can just incorporate little things and start feeling better, it will motivate me to keep going. And that's what I wanted to design there. And I think that's it. And this is where you can find me. You can find me on Instagram, #journeytowellness.ca, Facebook, it's Journey to Wellness, the path to a healthier you. I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm uploading a bunch of videos there. I've been recording some of my live workouts that I'm doing. I've been uploading them to YouTube. I also do some how-to videos. I've done a couple of recipes, and I'm continuing to grow that. There's going to be I've got lots of exciting ideas over the next 6 months that I have a really good goal for the end of the year where I want to bring my YouTube channel. So I want to bring what I know and what I do to as many people as possible. I want to help as many people as possible. And that's when people say, you know, what is Journey to Wellness? What is Deborah Hannon Journey to Wellness is, and I've been kind of playing with the wording a little bit, is my passion is empowering mainly women, but women, to live their healthiest and best life, no matter what their current situation is. Live their healthiest and best life with your current situation, where you are now, not where you were 20 years ago. That's gone. Sorry. That's gone. Where you are now, let's live your healthiest best life now, so that in 10 years time, you can still be living your healthiest best life and onwards. And that's it. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, now's a great time to ask. And if you don't, that's okay too. That means hopefully I did my job.
There's a comment from Tina here. She had to sign off.
Okay.
She had to run to something, but it says, so wonderful. Thank you, Deb. Love your energy. Have to run, but I'll be looking for you. Have a great weekend. So.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
so
and hopefully you'll be able to post the recording of this.
Yes, yeah. So it will be on our YouTube channel, as well as it goes into our website that's for the agents, so that they can review it and watch it. And yeah, it's been fantastic. So for like $10, we could have a 14-day kickstart to get us back into the gear and give us the kick that we need. Like, who doesn't have $10? We would go and we'd spend that on 2 coffee, right? You go buy a latte or a cappuccino, and that's it.
Exactly. So
I think I'll be signing up for that, Deb. I'll definitely.
You know what? I think you would really enjoy it, because it's simple little things. I'm not asking anybody to go change their whole life.
Yeah.
It's simple little things, quick little workouts, and a healthy, fun recipe. You just have to go on my homepage on my website, thejourneytowellness.ca. And it's right there. I think it's like the 3rd section down. It just says, join the 14-day Kickstart Challenge. And I'm getting some good feedback, from people. It's only, I'm kind of on day 5 of the very first one, but it's set up so that as soon as somebody signs up, they'll immediately get day 1 and then 14 days afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So a lot of what you're saying falls in line with what KW is about and what we believe. So one of our founders, Gary Keller, wrote a book. It's called The Big Why. So it's about, or the one thing, that's what it is. And it's all about finding out what is your why. And he takes you through some stuff to figure out what is your why. Why do you do what you do? What motivates you? What propels you forward? What helps you make those decisions? So it's really interesting. There's a lot of things that you said that fall into line with what KW culture is. So it was awesome.
Good. And I'm glad. So I hope that anybody watching this will realize, like, oh yeah, it's not just about running my business. It's also about running my body and running my life too.
Yeah. Yeah. And like what you said, don't wait for a health scare to do something, and small changes, right? Like buy less starches at the grocery store so they're not at your house, and buy a little bit more produce. Right? Like simple, but to me, those are simple changes that I can do. And then if it's not there, I don't tend to eat it. But if it's there, it's the easy, quick thing for me to do. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Small changes are good. Yeah, I think that's really important for us all, especially when everybody's feeling overwhelmed. Right. Yes. And, that in-between stage of, we can all do quarantine well now, and we can all do lots of socialing well, like before the quarantine, but this in-between stage is really hard for a lot of people. So
it's like we finally got used to it, and now it's like, what? I have to change again? But I'm now used to it.
I know. I gave somebody a hug yesterday, and I was so excited to give them a hug. And I, even more so, I was excited that I didn't feel guilty about giving them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's good to hear. So I
Yeah.
know that Patricia and Jessica are still on. Did either one of you have any questions for me?
No, sorry, I was still just listening.
Okay. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
I know typically what will happen, Deb, is there's lots of the agents that when they're out, and it's just been, like I mentioned at the beginning, a crazy market right now.
Yes.
So sometimes they can't make it during the sessions, but then they watch it when their kids go to
Oh.
bed or in the evening. So it's
I do
awesome
the same thing.
when it's recorded. Yeah,
Yes.
because it's awesome when it's recorded, because then people can they can tune in when it works for their schedule.
Yes, exactly. And I'm just checking to make sure. Yeah, it says that it's still recording, so that's good.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. So I really appreciate you taking the time and setting it aside from your busy schedule.
I like sharing. It really means a lot to me to be able to share. And it's amazing how this whole quarantine, this whole COVID, the change has really opened up some doors that things I didn't even really think of. I mean, I would do a couple of presentations a year, but nothing, nothing too big. And I've just found with this virtual where everybody is so used to now being on Zoom and being virtual that they don't have to bring people in, that you can just get online.
Yeah.
And I've been getting so many more requests, and
Which is
it feels
awesome.
good because if I can reach, like, you just said, all it takes is me to buy a little bit more produce and a little less starch. That's one little switch that you took away. What one little switch did somebody else take away? And if I can plant these little nuggets of information in people, and just for they go, I want to live a healthier life, but I don't know, it just seems so, type in the word diet into Google.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it's ridiculous. And then it's also teaching the people coming behind us.
Yeah.
Right? Like the whole thing with Melissa, with, her seeing me eat very small, and I was eating very small dinners. Right? I would eat some salad.
But it's an automatic assumption for them.
Right? Exactly. They're like, oh, mom's on a diet. And she knew I was getting healthier and I was losing some weight and I was feeling much better. And she knew that, but I didn't want her to think it was because I was starving myself.
Right. Right.
I really had to show. I did. I took pictures.
Healthy. Yeah.
Right. And you should see my breakfast. I've posted some pictures of breakfasts. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah.
They're huge. And she looked at it and she went, okay, yeah. Because I wanted her to see, no, mom is eating a lot of food. I eat healthy. I'm not starving myself, but I have done the switch where I want to fuel my body in the morning because I go all day long.
Yeah.
And I need to make sure. So I think this is still recording. So you might want to cut that part off when when you go to post it.
Yeah, it's been
It
really
was so
good.
nice. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for doing this.
This meant the world to me. This meant the world to me.
That's awesome. I'm so glad. So glad.
You go have an amazing weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Weather.
Enjoy celebrating Todd.
I'm taking this off as soon as I'm done.
I know. I have my little sundress on. I'm like, oh, it's going to be hot out today.
It's going to be really warm today. So, yes, we're going to be celebrating Dad on Sunday, and we're having a barbecue and a pool party tomorrow afternoon with just a couple of our neighbors. We're kind of. Nice. I'm still not ready to go big.
I know.
I'm just
that's wise. Like, I think it's good to kind of extend it a little bit, but if we go too big too fast, then it's just going to be
like, we haven't even done a bubble family yet. We chose not to do a bubble family. So now that we've done this, we're like, okay, why don't we do an outdoor? It's supposed to be gorgeous on Saturday. Yeah. We'll outdoors. We'll invite a couple, like the dads, the families, and we're just going to do pool party and a barbecue. And I think it'll be really good for us just to get out and do something. So
especially when it's people that you know well.
Exactly. And baby steps, right? I'm all about those baby steps.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything else.
I agree.
Wait till you're comfortable and then move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, honey. You have an amazing day.
Thank
I'm
you.
assuming that I have to end this because she's made me host.
Yes. Yeah. So I will leave. If you leave the meeting, or then it will stop it. Then it'll just say the host ended the meeting.
Okay. So that's what I'll do then. I'm clicking end, and you take care. Thank you again for inviting me to do this.